we reveal the murderers, rapists and terrorists who judges deemed necessary to lock away for lifetimes, some of whom were given sentences of more than 100,000 years. René Lopez, U.S. 1,503 years. In 2016, Lopez was found guilty of 186 counts of sexual assault after repeatedly raping his teenage daughter over a 5-year period. Jurors heard how Lopez attacked the girl 2 or 3 times a week and at one point got her pregnant. He turned down 2 plea deals which would have given him up to 22 years in prison, and was eventually given the mammoth sentence after refusing to admit guilt. Bobby Joe Long, U.S. 28 life sentences, 99 years and the death sentence. Long is a prolific serial killer who was found guilty of raping more than 50 women and killing at least 25, although he has indicated that there may be more victims. It was revealed that the Florida-born monster was born intersex, with an extra X chromosome which caused him to grow breasts during puberty. He also had a dysfunctional relationship with his mother and shared a bed with her until he was a teenager. It is thought that these traumas triggered his horrific crimes. Billie Joe Godfrey, U.S. 35 life sentences. In 2015, Godfrey was found guilty of 35 counts of forced sodomy after his adult stepson came forward and revealed that he had been abused between the ages of 3 and 10 years old. An investigation found that he also abused an unnamed girl at the same time. Godfrey was sentenced to 35 life sentences to be served consecutively, the equivalent of 1,050 years. James Eagan Holmes, U.S. 12 life sentences and 3,318 years. In 2013, Holmes opened fire in a Colorado cinema during a screening of The Dark Knight Rises, killing 2 and injuring at least 70 others. He also booby-trapped his apartment when explosives were defused by a bomb squad. The shooting was the deadliest in U.S. history until the Orlando nightclub shooting earlier this year. Holmes was sentenced to 12 consecutive life sentences, 1 for each life taken, and 3,318 years without parole. Martin Bryant, Australia, 35 life sentences and 1,035 years. Bryant shot 35 people and wounded another 23 in the 1996 Port Arthur massacre, after being inspired by the Dunblane massacre in Scotland. Although he was found to have severe intellectual disabilities, he was judged fit to stand trial and given 1,035 years without parole in addition to a life sentence for every count of murder. The massacre led to stricter gun controls being introduced in Australia. Dudley Wayne Kaiser, U.S. 10,000 years and 3 life sentences. On Halloween 1976, Kaiser walked into his estranged wife's home in Tuscaloosa, Alabama and shot her, her mother and a college student who was visiting. After just 1 hour of deliberation, the jury found Kaiser guilty and he was sentenced to 10,000 years imprisonment plus a life sentence for each of the murders. He has been eligible for parole since 1991 but has been denied 10 times. Alan Wayne McLaurin and Darren Ben Alfred Anderson, U.S. 21,000 years and 11,000 years. 2 Oklahoma men were arrested after they repeatedly raped and sodomized a newlywed woman in a prolonged attack that lasted for several hours. In 1993, they were handed a combined 6,475 years in prison. But 3 years later they appealed against the ruling after it emerged that the trial judge wrongly instructed the jury that a defendant is presumed not guilty rather than presumed innocent. A second trial in 1996 gave them much harsher sentences. McLaurin received 2,000 years on each of 4 counts of rape, 2,000 years on each of 4 counts of forcible sodomy, 1,750 years for kidnapping, 1,500 years for assault with a dangerous weapon, and 500 years each on 2 counts of robbery and single counts of larceny and burglary. Anderson received 2,000 years on each of 2 counts of rape, 2,000 years on each of 2 counts of forcible sodomy, 1,750 years for assault with a dangerous weapon, and 500 years each on single counts of burglary, robbery and larceny. Charles Scott Robinson, U.S. 30,000 years. In 1994, Oklahoma child rapist Charles Scott Robinson was given the longest sentence in U.S. history. After he was convicted of sexually assaulting 6 children, jurors recommended that he be sentenced to 5,000 years per victim to be served consecutively. Robinson's first opportunity for parole will come when he turns 108 years old. Odman El-Nui, Jamal Zugam and Emilio Suarez Trashoras, Spain 42,924 years. 3 terrorists were given hefty sentences for plotting the 2004 Madrid train bombings which killed 191 people and injured around 2,000. Zugam, the mastermind, was sentenced to 42,922 years while El-Nui was given 2 years more. Trashoras, who supplied the bombers with dynamite, was given a slightly lesser sentence of 34,715 years. Under Spanish law, the maximum any of the men can serve is 40 years. Chamoy Thaipiaso, Thailand 141,078 years. The longest ever prison sentence was given to Chamoy Thaipiaso, a Thai woman who defrauded 16,000 people in a pyramid scheme which netted her more than $200 million. In 1989, a judge sentenced her to an astonishing 141,078 years for corporate fraud. Thai law at the time stated that the maximum that could be served for fraud was 20 years, and Thaipiaso was only imprisoned for 8 years before she was released.